This is my book bolt video. It's probably going to be one of many. This is the very first one. These are my very first initial impressions with it. This is not going to be like any of the other book bolt videos, as you can see, as you can tell. And this is going to be an honest video. This is going to be very truthful, very point blank, very very honest. This is not going to be like any of the other videos. This one's going to be the truth. So if you're wondering about BookBolt, here you go. I will just say I am very chronically ill, so I'm cranky, and I'm a Viking. I'm Swedish, and if you know us, we're very angry people. And we like things working. And when they don't work, we get upset. So, if anyone's looking into maybe purchasing BookBolt, what have you, I figure people, any followers of my channel might not like watching this, because this has nothing to do with art. It does have to do with what's going on in my life, and it will have to do with updates and whatnot. But it won't have anything to do with what this channel is all about, art and making art and actually getting somewhere in my art. But this is part of my life. So, and in saying that, I'm very chronically ill. I'm very proud and grateful that I'm even able to make this video. I'm in bed right now. Hopefully you can hear me well enough on the phone, on the camera here. The last video I filmed like this from bed, I think I might have gotten the aspect ratio wrong, and I think it might have inadvertently filmed in portrait mode instead. So I apologize to anyone, for my followers that watch that. Definitely it seems to be in landscape this time, so I'm very grateful for that. So, yeah, I'm very chronically ill, and I thought before I go through the trouble of publishing something that I worked so hard and so many, I've been working on those butterfly drawings since the age of about 25, at least. So at least 2 decades, if not more. I mean, from 25 to 35, from 35 to 45, 2 decades, two full decades. So before I go and try to again publish a book on Amazon, because I had one coloring book up. It was of I wouldn't even be trying to do this if it wasn't for that. I had a coloring book up on there that was of bearded irises, and one person, at least one English speaker, bought it and complained about it, and I felt so bad, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't correct it because I was so sick at the time. And I thought that I had taken it down from sale, and it wasn't until just recently, just this year, that Amazon sent me an email about that book, and they let me know that it was still active on sale, and so I closed it out. Turns out it was being sold by some store in Japan and in England, and a whole pile of them were bought in 2019, right before I'm not going to get political. So just right before the flu hit, in 2019, or right about the flu, the cold that everyone got, you know, yeah. So, and a whole pile of them were bought, but not enough, because Amazon won't release your money to you unless you've made $100. And so because I didn't make $100, they weren't willing to release it to me, and I didn't even know the book was still for sale. So I took it down for sale, and I got $37 off of it. Over a 7-year period, I managed to earn $37. And that's when I was like, well, maybe Amazon isn't as worthless as I think, because I have tried other things where I have literally earned money like that, but then the company has not given me the money that they owed me. In fact, there was one, I even invested like $150 in this one investment thing. I forget, it was like one something, it was literally ONE, I forget what something, and it was an investment firm, and the stocks ended up tanking, And so I finally pulled out of all of it. And so they owed me $60. I put in about 150, $150, not thousands. It was, you know, they said that they were splitting up regular stocks. I shouldn't even be going into this. And anyway, they didn't give me the $60 that they owed me. And that was the biggest burn, but I was like, oh my God, they're supposed to be a reliable investment firm. If you want, I'll tell you more about that, but on another video. But Amazon is the only one that actually paid me the money that they owed me. You know, I mean, other art sites and whatnot, it's almost like, yeah, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, my problems with BookBolt. First off, they have no monthly calendars. None. None, 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 none. I have looked. Can I even templates? Yeah, here, I'll even do a search for this. Yeah, see? These are the calendars that they have. This is it. They have a workout calendar that's entirely empty. They have a calligraphy practice sheet, and then they have full year calendars, but they don't have a monthly, just a monthly calendar template. You have to create your own monthly calendar template. And that brings me to, so now I'm in the BookBolt. Sorry, it took 7 minutes to get into the BookBolt. But, so, first off, they have no calendar templates except for full years. And at the moment, they're up to date. They're for 2026. I'm filming this at the end of 2025, August of 2025. They have 2026 full year calendars, but they don't have anything for monthly. So you have to create your own monthly calendar. And the second part is that, and this is what really gets me, you cannot edit these sheets up. You can tell something is a scam if you have to pay just to use it, which is what BookBolt is. You have to pay just to try to use their services. Reminds me of doctors and doctors' offices, but you have to pay just to use their services. And then when you do try to use their services don't work. You pay for no services rendered, which is essentially what I'm getting here. And this is another thing. I can't zoom in. I can't edit this at all. I can't zoom in. I can't even scroll. Look at, I'm trying to scroll, and I have, set this up so that it's like a laptop, so that, it has the keyboard, I have the mouse connected, and I can't scroll even with a mouse. I can't scroll with a stylus. I can't scroll with, and I can't zoom in either. Now, hopefully that's ignorance on my end. But when it comes to editing these sheets, I can't even maneuver within the program on BookBolt. And when it comes to editing these sheets, and this is the main thing that really, really burns me, I'm paying for their basic plan. And yet they say that I have to upgrade to Pro, if you can see that at all there. I have to upgrade to Pro just to be able to edit this sheet. If I want to even change the font, if I want to, go in and maybe wipe out weekend planner and put meal planner up there and then put like breakfast, lunch, and dinner in there, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I have to supposedly upgrade to Pro in order to edit these sheets. That is an absolute ripoff. That's horrible. So I cannot scroll, I cannot zoom in, I cannot edit the sheets. These templates that they give. You know, I can't change the color. You know, I don't like grayscale. I'll go with it. It can be perfectly fine. And it makes sense for a quick print on demand thing. But I like color because I'm an artist and I need my color. I need my color. So, you know, I was thinking of going ahead and doing a print on demand book or two, especially ones that, you know, I don't really plan on selling these at all. I'm going to put them up for sale, and I'm going to put them up for sale under Astrological Geek, you know, instead of Artist Geek, you know, and I figure I was going to do this first just to try out Amazon print on demand stuff before I go through the trouble of plugging in my coloring book here and trying to publish, because the coloring book is what matters to me, not this quick get rich quick literal lies scheme, you know, shysterhood. You know, I don't care about this quick print on demand stuff. What I care about is printing my coloring book. But before I go through the trouble of the coloring book, I want to know how Amazon worked, because Amazon has changed so much from 2007, 2009, I think it was, when I initially published that stuff. No, it might have been 2017. Anyway, things have changed a lot. BookBolt didn't exist back then. It just didn't when I was trying to publish my stuff there. And I published 2 books, and I think I tried publishing 3, and one of them I took down right away. Another one, I think it was a book of poetry that I took down, or they took it down on me. I can't even remember. It was ridiculous. And the coloring book, oddly enough, stayed up, even though I thought that I took it down. So, you know, the Bearded Iris's coloring book, I do plan on taking that, and if I have the health, actually tracing it and recreating it, and actually doing a coloring book of flowers. So I'm going to do a coloring book of butterflies here, which I've already shown off, but on the video before this and whatnot. And I'm also going to do, if I can, a coloring book of flowers. Somewhere in there I might do a random coloring book, but these are so pie in the sky. I don't think I'm going to get to accomplish that because my health is really bad. But those are my goals. Those are my life goals before I pass away here. But yeah, the only other 2 things about BookBolt is that, you know, I figure I need to do a print on demand, see how it works, see how Amazon works before I actually go through the trouble of doing my coloring book and putting it out there for people to actually have a physical hard copy in their hand. And so BookBolt is not intuitive. It's very difficult to use. There is definitely a learning curve. It's not that bad for me because I have had no finances. I have had to learn on very old equipment how to use free programs of any kind I could get my hands on and I could use. So, but even for me, BookBolt is not very intuitive, and it is difficult, but it's especially difficult to navigate. At least for myself, you know, and I have watched a few videos and tutorials, and it hasn't helped because they all go with the pro stuff. They don't go with the basics. Every last one of them has pro. I haven't seen a video that works with basic, non-pro BookBolt features. Every last one of these tutorials and teachers and, you know, figure out how to use it that even BookBolt offers uses BookBolt Pro, the more expensive version that they have, you know, versus the cheaper version, which is $9.99 a month, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if BookBolt is worth it. I do need to try publishing a print on demand to Amazon using via BookBolt's features and see how that works out. I'm running out of steam here. I'm starting to get really sick, so because I've talked too much and too long. So I'm running out of water. I got kidney problems. So okay, so the last thing, and this is important, from what I've seen so far, BookBolt only exports in zip files and in PDFs, which really upsets me because that makes that these individual pages, like this food journal, PDFs, I remember, I'm from the days of when the internet didn't exist. All right, the internet just didn't exist. PDF files were originally created to digitize hard copy, in other words, printed media, printed papers and everything, stuff that you typed up via a typewriter, if you understand me. So you would type it up via a typewriter, you'd Xerox it in, and you could put it in PDF format because PDFs were not editable. That was the whole point of PDF, to have a non-editable, in other words, like a hard copy piece of paper in digital format. That has remained true with PDFs. And the whole point of PDFs, the Adobe Acrobat system, was that if you really wanted to edit this document, you were going to have to pay through the nose and get some fantastic editing features just to be able to augment that digital file. And then it would be specifically in that Adobe Acrobat's digital file. You know, you couldn't transfer it to, like, I can't even, I think the only thing that they even offered to transfer to was HTML, and that was back in 2005. But so unless you shell out for still the Adobe Acrobat PDF file editing system, you cannot edit this. I want to go in and I want to edit Food Journal, and I want to take out the servings. I don't think I'd take out the servings. See, I can't even necessarily, I can move this around on the screen, but I can't even zoom in so that I can show you better, so that I can even give a better example on camera here. You know, I can zoom in with the camera. Come on. I can zoom in with the camera itself, but I cannot zoom in via the laptop. And that is a major feature that they need to put into. I mean, I can't believe that they don't have this as just a basic feature. BookBolt is terrible. BookBolt is terrible. And I wish that there was an alternative to BookBolt, but I don't know what, I don't think there is one. So the only files that BookBolt exports in is PDF, which is not editable. I want to go into, essentially Photoshop, Pixlr, and edit this entire thing. I want to be able to take out the calories. I want to be able to take out the fitness activity journal. I want to take out the notes. I want to expand the dinner, snack, and lunch feature. I want to totally change the font for the food journal. I want to put the servings, in a totally different area and way. I want to add more lines to it. I want to completely change this whole page. And BookBolt doesn't allow me to do that in the basic, finance tier. I don't know, basic finance tier, basic, initial try it out for 3 days setup. And if you try going, well, all right, fine, export it in JPEG, export it in what is it, PDF, export it in TIFF. TIFF is Adobe TIFF is Photoshop. I'd much rather have it be exported in TIFF. I'm used to that one. which does make it a huge file, but you know, it's something. You know, I can't even export this in like a Word document, so I can at least try to edit it in Word, you know, which I have to admit I also don't have. You know, I would actually need a rich text format file, but I can't even export this in a rich text format, you know. So this is entirely uneditable. I cannot export this out in any other format but PDF, which is entirely uneditable. You know, and here's another weekly planner. You know, I can't export this, you know, in any other format but PDF. And so I'm still going to try to do a print-on-demand book using BookBolt, but, and I will give you an update with that more than likely, unless I get very angry and just, you know, I don't know. My mom always put it pulling your hair out. So unless I pull my hair out, I'm bald now essentially because I'm so sick. Unless I pull my hair out entirely, actually pull my wig off entirely. Oh, I'm so angry. You know, and it turns out that even doing a fast and easy print on demand via Kindle Direct Publishing book on Amazon, you know, unless BookBolt won't even put it in a format that Amazon will accept and make it correct so that each page is where and how it's supposed to be. Because what I want to do is I want to do like something different for every other page. I want to be able to have a weekly planner at the beginning of the week. I want to be able to have a food journal at the beginning of the day. And then I want to have a plain lined piece of paper on the back of the food journal, you know, essentially. And if BookBolt won't, you know, overall compile this correctly and export it correctly and export it in a way that Amazon will take up those files and, you know, execute it correctly, then I'm going to be so upset with BookBolt. I mean, I know what I mean. It's just hard to put into words because my words are going away also, which is very upsetting to me. So yeah, apparently that's it for now. Those are my first initial impressions with BookBolt. Those are my first. I'm upset about it. I'm very, very, very upset about it. Mainly because you don't get basic needed features like scrolling up and down, back and forth, zoom in, zoom out, and you don't get to edit these, I'm sorry, but really, you know, not great templates, you know, especially if you need to edit them greatly. You can't edit them unless you know, as for the scrolling, I don't think you get scrolling and zoom in and zoom out, even if you do get the pro version, you know. Let me zoom out here. And look, and this is the cover too. And I can't edit the cover in BookBolt. I can't, you can put covers on and stuff like that, but you can't do much with them. You can't edit them very much at all. It's a real, I have had to, believe it or not, go to Canva, which I don't like at all, but I've had to go to Canva and start trying to relearn how to use Canva just to be able to create the monthly inserts for these quick and easy print on demand book, you know, books that I'm trying to create. And really I just want to create one or two so that I can get the feel of it, so that I can know how to use BookBolt, so that I can know how to use today's Amazon print on demand stuff. so that I don't screw up. Sorry. I finally slumped over. I gotta end this. So that I don't screw up my coloring book, you know, or coloring books if I'm so lucky to publish more than my butterfly one. But this has been a lot of complaining, but this, if nothing else, this has been a lot of honesty. So anyone that's looking into BookBolt, please watch this. I figure a lot of people who have nothing to do with my channel and have nothing to do with art will watch this. Watch this. Consider it. Look into it before you spend your money. You know, I believe in having a free, open source for everyone, everything. Internet, education. I don't think anything should be held back from anyone, no matter how poor they are, no matter how disabled they are, no matter what. I think to the best of our ability, we should make everything, all knowledge, all abilities, all using the internet, all programs open and free for everyone. And the other half of that is that most things that are really, really good, really worth it, like, I don't know how else to put it. Street corner pharmacists who are pushing their drugs, all right, will get you addicted to whatever they're pushing, you know? They will get you addicted, and they will try to get you to take those drugs for free because they know that those drugs are good and that you will enjoy them, before they'll suddenly cut you off and say, nah, you got to pay me now. Pixlr lets you use it for free. And they let you use all their stuff for free because their stuff is worthwhile. You know, their stuff is worthwhile. BookBolt, their stuff is not worthwhile, and they know that people will realize that. So, and I don't know how else to put it, kind of like a doctor's office or a hospital, you can't just come walking in. You have to have cash in hand before they will let you use their services, BookBolt. And it's because their services are not even, you know, I don't know how else to put it, as good as a street corner pharmacist. You know? When you have to pay just to look over the merchandise, more often than not, the merchandise is not worth buying. But again, and just to cover my butt here, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm very angry and cranky. This is an opinion piece. And, you know, go try this out yourself and see what you have to think. And hopefully someone will be able to come and say, well, okay, but I figured out how to scroll. I figured out how to zoom in. And I did not get the pro version of it. I have the dirt cheap $9.99 a month version of it. This is how you scroll. This is how you zoom in and out. And I did figure out how to somewhat edit these pages. Maybe not great, but edit, like, you know, anything in it. You know, edit the font, edit the words, edit any part of it. Yeah. Without it being an absolute mess, you know. So anyway, there you go. This is 30 minutes long. But complaining is what I seem to do best. And most passionately. I think it's in my genes. So I'm glad that I was able to talk for this long. This is the longest I've talked in months and months and months. So I'm done now. Thank you for lasting to the end of this video. If you lasted to the end, Put something in the comments, anything. Just leave a comment of any kind. In fact, leave a comment of calendars or just calendar in the comments to let me know that you made it all the way to the end. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sorry for complaining, especially to anyone that subscribes to my channel. I'm sorry, but I had to let you all know because this is upsetting me so greatly. And this is not fair to anyone, especially when you're sick like I am. So, bye for now. Bye. Thanks. Bye.